I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years.
And I have given all the proofs of who was involved with Diddy. I have presented the videotape of Diddy's parties as evidence. Now no one can save Diddy and the other celebs. After watching the rest of the documentary, you'll understand everything.
I am the fucking hardest hustler in the world. This is Savage Part 2. Don't tell me about shit. It's 2022 and I'm still a savage. Whatever I want, I get. Whatever I want, I fucking get.
Today is Sunday, February 22nd, 2026. And right now, 50 Cent has done it again. 50 Cent's new Netflix documentary, Part 2, is officially live. And this time, 50 Cent isn't just revisiting Diddy. 50 Cent isn't just mentioning Jay-Z. 50 Cent is pulling back the curtain on something darker, something quieter, something that, according to 50 Cent, was always happening behind closed doors. In this new Netflix documentary, 50 Cent talks about Diddy, 50 Cent talks about Jay-Z, and 50 Cent claims there were secret parties, closed-door parties, late-night gatherings that started after the cameras stopped rolling, private rooms, restricted entry, familiar faces only. According to 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, these weren't industry events. These weren't red carpet celebrations. These were nights that allegedly stayed undocumented. On our 50 Cent brings up Diddy, 50 Cent brings up Jay-Z, and 50 Cent questions why so many of these events had no photos, no public guest lists, no interviews, no records. And it doesn't stop there. In Part 2 of the Netflix documentary, 50 Cent also hints at secret relationships, private connections kept far away from public image, associations that were never confirmed, never denied. Young girls allegedly present at certain gatherings, age concerns that insiders reportedly whispered about, relationships that, if true, raise uncomfortable questions. At the same time, 50 Cent suggests there were other relationships, hidden from the public persona of Diddy and Jay-Z. Relationships that required extreme secrecy. Relationships that, according to 50 Cent's framing, could damage reputations if exposed. But here's what makes this bigger. Woody, this isn't the first time 50 Cent has targeted Diddy on Netflix. Back on December 2nd, 2025, 50 Cent released Part 1, a 4-part Netflix documentary that shook the industry. That documentary focused heavily on Diddy. That documentary raised questions. That documentary started conversations. Now on February 22nd, 2026, 50 Cent returns with Part 2. And this time, 50 Cent expands the focus, bringing Jay-Z deeper into the narrative. 50 Cent's new Netflix documentary suggests patterns, private inner circles, powerful alliances, industry figures moving together privately, while publicly maintaining distance. And the biggest question hanging in the air right now, if 50 Cent is putting these allegations about Diddy and Jay-Z on Netflix, if 50 Cent is amplifying stories about secret parties, closed-door rooms, and alleged hidden relationships, could this increase pressure on Diddy's legal situation? Could this documentary shift public opinion even further? Could 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, Part 2, have real-world consequences? Because when 50 Cent speaks about Diddy, when 50 Cent mentions Jay-Z, when 50 Cent drops a Netflix documentary instead of a diss track, it's not random. And tonight, we're breaking down exactly what 50 Cent claims, what's new in Part 2, how this connects to Diddy, and why Jay-Z's name keeps appearing in 50 Cent's Netflix documentary. This isn't just gossip. This is a narrative war playing out on the biggest streaming platform in the world, and it might only be the beginning.
That claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we're not even going to go there, with all due respect, but I appreciate you as a journalist asking. Thank you.
Because you listen, 7 years ago, I'd have been like, yo, did you hire somebody to kill Pac? But no, you do it like a journalist.
Yeah, no, I mean, we wouldn't even get into nonsense like that. You know what I'm saying? It's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah.
50 Cent's new Netflix documentary revisits Diddy and Jay-Z, but this time, 50 Cent shifts the spotlight away from red carpets and award shows and toward the rooms nobody ever saw. According to 50 Cent, this isn't about what happened in public. It's about what allegedly happened behind walls no cameras ever entered. In Part 2 of his Netflix documentary, 50 Cent repeatedly brings up Diddy. 50 Cent repeatedly mentions Jay-Z. And 50 Cent questions why certain meetings were always held away from public view. Not business conferences, not official label meetings, but private gatherings, private rooms, private timing, carefully selected attendees. 50 Cent suggests these weren't random social nights. These were controlled environments. Access restricted, invitations limited, phones allegedly monitored or removed. So no conversations contained within four walls. And here's what 50 Cent emphasizes in the Netflix documentary. The conversations that allegedly never left the room. No recordings, no press leaks, no behind-the-scenes footage, just presence. Closed-door parties, restricted entry, familiar faces only. Powerful names that reportedly moved together privately but kept distance publicly. 50 Cent questions why Diddy and Jay-Z were repeatedly present in these same environments, why the same inner circle kept appearing, why these events were allegedly designed to stay undocumented. Because according to 50 Cent, secrecy wasn't accidental. It was structured. Private estates, VIP-only sections, after-hours access, security layers. 50 Cent's Netflix documentary frames it as a pattern, not a coincidence. He doesn't claim to have been inside every room. He doesn't present hidden footage. Instead, 50 Cent asks a question that lingers over the entire documentary. If these gatherings were harmless, if these meetings were normal, if nothing inappropriate was happening, why were they so carefully hidden? Why the restricted entry? Why the silence? Why the same powerful names moving quietly behind closed doors? And why, according to 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, do Diddy and Jay-Z keep appearing at the center of these private environments? Because in part 2, 50 Cent isn't just telling a story, he's suggesting a pattern. And the question hanging over everything is simple. If nothing happened, why was everything hidden?
50 Cent has been working on this documentary for almost 2 years. The footage he has is insane. The people he got speaking about Diddy is ridiculous.
In this new Netflix documentary, 50 Cent shifts focus toward Diddy's and Jay-Z's late-night world. A world that, according to 50 Cent, existed completely outside public visibility. Not the daytime meetings, not the press appearances, not the interviews, but what allegedly started after the cameras stopped rolling. 50 Cent describes a pattern in his Netflix documentary. After-hours gatherings that began when the industry went quiet, when security tightened, when phones allegedly disappeared, when only a selected few remained, private estates, high-rise penthouses overlooking city skylines, luxury yachts anchored away from attention. According to 50 Cent, these weren't public celebrations. These were controlled spaces, invitations limited, access managed, presence curated, and 50 Cent keeps bringing up the same names. Diddy, Jay-Z. Diddy and Jay-Z, repeatedly appearing in environments that, as he frames it, were never meant for public documentation. Moments that existed only in memory. No official photos, no tag locations, no guest lists. In the Netflix documentary, 50 Cent doesn't claim to have filmed these nights. Instead, he questions the silence around them. Because alongside the late-night culture, 50 Cent introduces another layer. Alleged secret romantic relationships. Connections reportedly kept far away from public image. Private involvement never acknowledged openly. Associations that were never confirmed, never denied. According to 50 Cent, when it came to Diddy and Jay-Z, certain relationships were handled with extreme discretion, public appearances carefully staged, public narratives carefully protected. But behind closed doors? That's where 50 Cent says the real story might be. Why were certain individuals seen repeatedly in private settings but never publicly recognized? Why were there no confirmations? Why no denials? Why silence? In part 2 of his Netflix documentary, 50 Cent doesn't just describe late nights. He questions what required so much secrecy. Because if these gatherings were harmless, if these relationships were innocent, if everything was above board, why did they allegedly only exist after midnight? Why did they disappear by morning? And the question 50 Cent leaves hanging over Diddy and Jay-Z in this Netflix documentary is simple. What was happening after midnight? That couldn't survive daylight.
A lot of people say I'm doing this out of revenge because we've got beef. I won't deny it. Me and Diddy have had issues. We've been going at it since 2006. He blocked Mace from signing with me. I dissed him in a track. He launched the vodka line. I launched mine. It's been a back and forth for years. You know why he's so desperate to shut this film down? Because he knows we found things. Footage, phone calls, conversations he recorded himself, contracts, NDAs, real receipts. But Diddy ain't the only problem. He's just a symbol. This industry is full of people like him smiling in the spotlight while pulling strings and hurting people behind the scenes. I don't make things up.
50 Cent's Netflix documentary doesn't directly accuse. There are no courtroom-style indictments, no dramatic on-screen charges. Instead, 50 Cent does something more calculated. He raises questions. In part 2 of his Netflix documentary, 50 Cent revisits Diddy. He revisits Jay-Z, and he revisits patterns that were first hinted at when part 1 dropped on December 2nd, 2025. But this time, the focus shifts toward alleged associations and the secrecy surrounding them. 50 Cent references alleged relationships with young girls, not in a loud, sensational way, but in a quiet, investigative tone. He frames it as whispers that circulated within industry circles. Age concerns reportedly raised quietly, presence at certain gatherings that, according to some accounts mentioned in the documentary, made insiders uncomfortable. No direct proof presented, no confirmed documentation shown, but repeated questions. Why were certain individuals present in private spaces? Why were there noticeable age gaps? Why did some attendees reportedly feel uneasy but never speak publicly? 50 Cent doesn't answer these questions directly. He lets them sit, and then he introduces another layer: alleged relationships with men that were kept completely separate from public persona. According to 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, there was an extreme effort placed on maintaining two different images: public image, mogul, billionaire, cultural icon; private image, selective access, hidden associations, tightly controlled exposure. 50 Cent suggests that when it came to Diddy and Jay-Z, reputation management wasn't casual. It was strategic. Carefully curated interviews, carefully staged appearances, carefully controlled narratives. He draws attention to what he calls a dual existence, what the public saw and what allegedly happened in private. And what makes this more intense is that 50 Cent connects these themes back to part 1, the December 2nd, 2025 release. In part 1, 50 Cent hinted at secrecy. He hinted at private gatherings. He hinted at hidden alliances. But in part 2, 50 Cent pushes further into identity secrecy. He questions why so much effort was allegedly invested in protecting certain connections, why certain people were never publicly acknowledged, why certain rumors persisted for years but were never clearly addressed. If there was nothing to hide, why the separation between public persona and private life? If everything was normal, why the controlled silence? And in the end, 50 Cent leaves viewers with a question that echoes louder than any accusation. Why was so much energy invested in keeping certain identities hidden?
Has been warning us about Jay-Z. Jay-Z has now had an official lawsuit. It's everywhere. It's now being talked about louder than ever. I guess, does that give you some peace to know that people are finally really questioning this man?
It's emboldening me. I spoke on Piers Morgan. I said that I had 3 victims that I've been working with, victims of the Carters, that were ready to come forward. This might help them feel a little more confident now. So this is great because he's been evading. But the thing is, everyone in the backdrop knew that he was the celebrity John Doe. Everybody knew that. They knew it when I did Piers Morgan.
Is Beyonce celebrity B?
I hope to God not. But she was around. And she's very... she's got enough on her plate. After everything that happened with the election and everything that's happening right now, I'm not going to dump on that woman. She got better fish to fry. Well, what I will say is that her husband, she knows exactly who he is.
Yeah.
She knows. She knows.
Rihanna was trafficked to Def Jam.
She was an innocent baby when she came over here. And look
She
at her
was
now.
14 going on 15 years old. Flown over without parental supervision in a private plane by a man who was supposed to be a producer who auditioned her at 3 a.m. in the fucking morning in a hotel room. Auditioning at 3 a.m. in the morning, a 14-year-old girl. She was flown to another country. She was taken to Def Jam headquarters. She was left in a conference room alone with Sean Carter for nearly 6 hours alone with no parental supervision. Her father collected a $500,000 check. She has the fastest
Diddy isn't going down
deal
quietly.
in Def.
In part 2 of his Netflix documentary, 50 Cent expands the lens. This time, 50 Cent doesn't focus only on Diddy. He widens the frame, connecting Jay-Z to private celebrity circles that, according to the documentary's narrative, operated far away from public visibility. 50 Cent repeatedly names Diddy. 50 Cent repeatedly names Jay-Z. And 50 Cent suggests that what looked like distance in public may have been familiarity in private. Publicly, Diddy and Jay-Z appeared selective, strategic collaborations, occasional shared appearances, carefully managed optics. But privately, 50 Cent's Netflix documentary questions whether powerful names were moving together in environments the public never saw. Secret relationships with major celebrities, connections that were never officially acknowledged, private familiarity that didn't match the public distance. According to 50 Cent, certain faces kept appearing in the same closed environments, the same private estates, the same late-night gatherings, the same inner circle events, and yet no public confirmation, no joint interviews discussing these private associations, no acknowledgement of how deep certain ties actually went. 50 Cent frames this as more than coincidence. He then touches on adult misconduct allegations, not as proven facts, but as whispers that have circulated for years, claims of inappropriate behavior, disturbing stories allegedly happening behind closed doors, rumors that, according to the documentary's tone, never fully disappeared. They just stayed quiet. 50 Cent doesn't present court verdicts. He doesn't present official rulings in this section. Instead, he questions the silence. Why were certain stories never investigated publicly? Why did some accusations fade without clear resolution? Why did so many insiders reportedly stay quiet? The documentary implies that power can shape narrative, that influence can suppress discussion, that celebrity status can create insulation. And 50 Cent directly challenges that idea. He questions whether the industry protected its own. He questions whether reputations were prioritized over transparency. He questions whether silence was accidental or intentional. Diddy's name appears. Jay-Z's name appears. And alongside them, unnamed but powerful figures referenced in private circles. The pattern 50 Cent suggests is this: public image, controlled; private association, concealed; allegations, whispered, not shouted. And as part 2 unfolds, one question becomes heavier than all the others. If these stories were circulating for years, if these private celebrity circles were known within the industry, if certain behaviors were allegedly witnessed behind closed doors, how many powerful people knew and stayed quiet? In part 2 of his Netflix documentary, 50 Cent keeps returning to one specific pattern surrounding Diddy and Jay-Z. The same people, the same environments, the same private settings. According to 50 Cent, it's not just about what happened, it's about who was always there. Diddy appears, Jay-Z appears, and alongside them, the same familiar faces reportedly show up again and again in private spaces. Not on red carpets, not in interviews, not in public collaborations, but in inner circle environments. If 50 Cent describes what he frames as unspoken connections, relationships that were understood within certain circles, but never acknowledged publicly, private inner circles, selective access, people who were allegedly always present in exclusive gatherings, but rarely, if ever, mentioned in public conversations. And this is where 50 Cent sharpens the focus. He contrasts these off-record relationships with public interviews. On camera, narratives appear clean. Associations appear limited. Connections seem casual or distant. But according to the framing of 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, privately, those same connections may have been deeper than publicly admitted. Associations never confirmed, never denied, just left hanging. 50 Cent suggests that narrative control played a key role. Carefully managed public images. Strategic silence. Questions deflected rather than answered. When Diddy is asked about certain relationships publicly, answers stay vague. When Jay-Z is questioned about certain associations, responses stay controlled. But in the documentary, 50 Cent implies that off-camera realities might not match on-camera portrayals. He doesn't present contracts. He doesn't present secret recordings. Instead, he presents a pattern. The same individuals reportedly appearing in private estates. The same individuals seen at late-night gatherings. The same individuals tied to exclusive events that allegedly left no public record. And the most unsettling part, according to 50 Cent's narrative, is consistency. Years pass, public images evolve, business deals change, but the inner circle, it allegedly remains. Diddy, Jay-Z. The same off-record connections. So 50 Cent asks a simple but powerful question in his Netflix documentary. If these were just casual friendships, if these were harmless associations, if everything was transparent, why were they never openly discussed? Why do the same faces appear in every private setting? And why, according to 50 Cent, does the pattern feel too consistent to ignore? Part 1 of 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, released on December 2nd, 2025, shook the industry. 4 parts, heavy accusations, Diddy's name dominating headlines. But according to 50 Cent, Part 2 isn't just a continuation, it's an expansion. This time, 50 Cent claims the focus goes deeper, beyond individual allegations and into what he frames as hidden alliances between Diddy and Jay-Z. In Part 2, 50 Cent suggests that what appeared to be public separation may have masked private alignment. On the surface, Diddy and Jay-Z moved independently. Different ventures, different brands, different public strategies. But behind the scenes, 50 Cent questions whether there was coordination, not necessarily documented in contracts, not announced in press releases, but understood within elite industry circles. He frames it as behind-the-scenes alignment, powerful figures moving strategically while maintaining public distance. Publicly, competitors. Privately, allies. 50 Cent doesn't present new court documents. He doesn't introduce explosive new evidence. Instead, he introduces new angles. He revisits accusations that never fully disappeared after Part 1. Rumors that faded from headlines but never truly went away. To stories that were discussed briefly, then buried under new news cycles. In Part 1, 50 Cent hinted at secrecy. He hinted at private spaces. He hinted at patterns involving Diddy. In Part 2, he pulls Jay-Z deeper into that narrative. He highlights industry power dynamics, how influence can shape perception, how narratives can be redirected, how public disputes can distract from private alignment. According to 50 Cent's framing, some accusations weren't disproven. They were simply outlasted. Questions were asked, statements were issued, silence followed, and that silence is what Part 2 focuses on. What was never answered after Part 1? Why were certain topics avoided in interviews? Why did some insiders refuse to comment? 50 Cent suggests that alliances within the industry may have played a role in containing damage. Not necessarily illegal coordination, but strategic protection, Diddy, Jay-Z, shared spaces, shared influence. And the deeper 50 Cent goes in this Netflix documentary, the clearer the pattern he wants viewers to see. Public narratives can be managed, but unanswered questions don't disappear. They wait. So now with Part 2 expanding the lens, with Diddy and Jay-Z both under renewed scrutiny, with accusations resurfacing in a new context, one question hangs over everything. Was Part 1 only the beginning? In Part 2 of his Netflix documentary, 50 Cent shifts the focus towards something deeper than just secrecy. He questions influence, he questions control, and he questions the power dynamics inside private spaces allegedly involving Diddy and Jay-Z. According to 50 Cent's framing, and these environments weren't just exclusive, they were controlled. Access wasn't random, entry wasn't open, Presence was curated. And when power controls the room, 50 Cent suggests, power also controls the narrative. Throughout the documentary, he brings up unconfirmed associations, individuals linked privately but never acknowledged publicly, bonds that were never officially recognized, connections that appeared to exist in private but were erased in public conversations, relationships that, according to 50 Cent's narrative, seemed to disappear when the cameras turned on, yet were reportedly preserved when the doors closed. Diddy's name appears. Jay-Z's name appears. And 50 Cent repeatedly questions the imbalance inside these exclusive environments. Who had influence? Who controlled access? Who decided who entered and who didn't? Because power inside a room isn't just about money. It's about status, reputation, gatekeeping. And when younger individuals are reportedly present in spaces dominated by powerful industry figures, 50 Cent highlights the discomfort that can come with that imbalance. Significant age gap concerns, quiet alarms raised by observers, situations that, even if not publicly addressed, allegedly felt uneven. He doesn't present legal judgments in this section. Instead, he focuses on structure. Older, established moguls. Younger, less powerful attendees. Exclusive spaces where influence could shape outcomes. According to 50 Cent's documentary, the concern isn't just about who was there, it's about who had control. Publicly, Diddy and Jay-Z project dominance in business, culture, and music. Privately, 50 Cent questions how that dominance translated inside closed environments. Did power create silence? Did influence discourage speaking up? Did reputation overshadow discomfort? And the deeper the documentary goes, the clearer the theme becomes. In exclusive environments, influence isn't equal. Some people enter rooms with leverage. Others enter without it. And when relationships are never acknowledged publicly, when associations are quietly erased, when significant age differences raise quiet concerns, the imbalance becomes the story. Which leads to one uncomfortable question lingering over everything. Inside those private spaces involving Diddy and Jay-Z, who really had the power? In part 2 of his Netflix documentary, 50 Cent makes a critical shift. When he stops framing the controversy around Diddy and Jay-Z as isolated incidents. Instead, 50 Cent presents it as a pattern. Not one night, not one party, not one rumor, but years of whispers. According to 50 Cent's narrative, exploitation rumors didn't suddenly appear. They allegedly circulated quietly inside industry circles for a long time. Stories shared privately, concerns mentioned off record, questions asked, but rarely answered publicly. 50 Cent suggests that when it came to Diddy and Jay-Z, certain allegations didn't explode immediately. They lingered. Industry whispers spanning years. Conversations that never reached microphones. Warnings that allegedly stayed within closed networks. And at the center of this framing is a difficult theme. Concerns around vulnerable individuals, younger attendees, less powerful participants, people without the same influence or protection. 50 Cent implies that when power and access combine, silence can become normalized. He describes what he frames as repeating patterns of secrecy, private gatherings, restricted access, no documentation, no public acknowledgement, then silence. In part 2, 50 Cent pushes the idea that this wasn't random chaos, it was a system where influence controlled narrative, a system where reputations were protected, a system where uncomfortable questions faded over time. And now, with 50 Cent putting these allegations and patterns on Netflix, on the world's largest streaming platform, he suggests that pressure is building. Diddy's name is already tied to legal scrutiny. Jay-Z's name is being mentioned more frequently in online discussions. How public opinion is shifting. 50 Cent doesn't claim that his documentary is a court ruling, but he implies it could influence perception. Could it increase public pressure? Could it reopen conversations that were previously quiet? Could it affect how Diddy's legal situation is viewed? Because when silence protects powerful figures, exposure changes the equation. For years, according to 50 Cent's framing, industry silence may have contained the damage. But now, the conversations are public. The patterns are being discussed. The allegations are being amplified. And the final question that lingers over Diddy, Jay-Z, and the entire industry is this. If silence protected them before, what happens now that 50 Cent has put everything on Netflix?